So last I was congratulate Tremor almost not all time all alone to Jesus Christ. But yeah, welcome back to congratulate Tremor. Today we're gonna listen horror videos. I listen only. I lost my horror. I'm not gonna lie, I lost horror. Today we are going to react to Size 2 latest certain horror stories. Got yourself something today because this is going to get interesting and so excited. I love horror. I can't say I love it. I love it. I'm scared, but I love it. So on the right. Okay, I'm not going to try. I'm not even
This
going
is
to
my
try.
cousin's story, and it takes place in Mexico. One of her old schoolmates, Claudia, had gotten married at a very young age to this rich guy. They had 3 children together, and to the outside world, they were the ideal family.
That's just a little too young. Okay.
Lived on the nicest street in town, were fashionable and attractive, and seemed to have everything going for them.
Okay.
One thing my cousin always noticed was just how security conscious they were. They had cameras set up outside and even inside their house, and a state-of-the-art security system with all the trimmings.
Yeah, but I would have. I don't know if I would have a camera inside. I have a house there. I would like a security system, camera. I would do that. I'm not gonna lie, I would do that.
I don't know what the husband did for work, but my cousin always suspected it was something dodgy.
Why? Why? Because why? Because they have a security system.
Never liked to talk about her husband's work, nor how they could afford such a luxurious lifestyle.
Okay, I know that's there.
Anyway, Claudia called my cousin one day and asked if she could babysit their kids that weekend. They had a party to go to, and their children were far too young to be left alone.
Okay.
They were only 5, 6, and 8 respectively. My cousin told her no problem. She needed the money and didn't have any plans that weekend anyway. She was a bit of a nerd back then.
Huh?
So, my cousin
That's fine,
all alone, except for those 3 kids she was looking after. It was around 10 p.m, and she was in the kitchen, trying to open a can of something, when she nonchalantly turned around and saw a guy staring in at her through the window.
Ooh.
The guy tapped on the window and said, "Sorry, miss, I didn't mean to scare you. Is this the Hernandez residence?" Hernandez was indeed
Sit. No. This is next door.
the name of the family that lived there, but my cousin wasn't stupid. She said no and asked what he wanted, to which he replied, "Oh, nothing. My mistake. Have a nice night."
What the fuck? Hey, I didn't mean to scare you. If this isn't better, no, I'm sorry to disturb you this.
My cousin was getting some bad vibes from this.
So please.
He was polite enough, but had a harsh look about him.
Yeah.
Not to mention the whole scenario was kind of odd.
So please.
Who goes around knocking on people's windows at 10 p.m?
Yeah, I'm not too stronger.
My cousin went to check on the kids upstairs. They were sound asleep in bed.
Nice.
She called up Claudia and her husband to tell them about this guy at the window, to ask them if they were expecting a delivery or something.
A delivery to the window.
Claudia's husband snatched the phone out of her hands and started talking to my cousin directly. He told her to make sure all the doors and windows were locked, to wake up the kids and hide them in safe places. My cousin followed his instructions.
Okay, I guess.
Within minutes, a slew of police cars arrived outside the house.
Nice.
Shortly after that, the policia had the guy at the window in handcuffs, along with 2 other men she hadn't even noticed before. They'd been waiting outside the house in a black Jeep. My cousin was extremely confused about what was going on. Everything was cleared up when the family reviewed the CCTV footage. The outside cameras showed the window watcher and his accomplices sneaking around outside the house. They were holding machetes. They split up to check around the residence, looking in through the windows.
Oh.
My cousin just so happened to look around when that guy got to the kitchen window. She couldn't see the machete he was holding. You see, Claudia's husband had gotten in with the cartels, and after some legal troubles, he'd testified against his former associates. As a result, they'd sent some goons to come and capture his children. Not to stop him from speaking against them, just to teach him a lesson.
Yes.
When they saw my cousin, they got confused and figured they might have the wrong address. They decided to wait outside for confirmation from their boss. Thankfully, the cops arrived just before that confirmation could come through. I don't know if these guys plan to kill the kids, hold them ransom, or sell them to the highest bidder. I don't know what they would have done to my cousin either if they had made a move. Thankfully, we'll never find out.
They only wanted to declare, so she is a witness, so
if Claudia was home with the kids that night, things could have ended very badly.
yeah, true. This is how true is
went
it?
into hiding after that, cut off contact with everybody, and started a new life somewhere far away. My cousin's not sure how they're doing these days, or what the husband does for work, since they obviously lost touch. But we all hope that their past never came back to haunt them.
That's sad, but also fucking weird. Fine. Let's go on! A classic YouTube title.
I was about 13 or 14, and I was babysitting 2 boys for some church members. I'd done it before, and the kids loved me, and the parents were very comfortable with me.
Okay.
This was a night where they were going to be gone until something like 2:30 in the morning.
Yes.
I was doing it for free that day.
What?
Because they were going to do something church-related, and that's just how I rolled.
Okay.
Anyway, the house they lived in was an apartment complex. You know, one of those small ones that had 2 floors and 4 places in each spot. They're on the bottom floor, with 2 bedrooms on either side of the apartment, a kitchen on the left and a living room on the right, with a sliding glass door to the patio, and a public bathroom next to the front.
Nice.
It was about 1:30 in the morning, I think, and I knew they'd be getting home soon. The kids were knocked out, and I'd finished my homework.
Okay.
They didn't have cable, and this was before Netflix became an online service, but they did have a couple of DVDs and VHSs to watch. So
Wait, så nazister zijn online services. Wat als nazister zijn zo er zijn online
the
services.
land before time to make the night go quicker. I was already very tired, and had nodded off a couple
Dat is zo.
Around 2 a.m., I could hear knocking on the front door. Knowing the parents had a key, I did nothing but sit there in the dark with the TV glowing. Being a paranoid person, and one who watches and reads a lot of horror, I grabbed the baseball bat that was next to the couch. What happened next will haunt me forever. I heard a small voice, almost like a young woman's. Oh dear, that won't help you. My heart stopped, and I realized the patio door didn't have the blind shut. My eyes shift slowly to the door, and I see someone on the patio, staring in. I couldn't make anything out, other than they were very short and wide. I screamed and ran into the kids' room. Thankfully, they were still asleep.
Wait, okay, so, how are you still asleep?
Unfortunately, this was before I had a cell phone, and there were no cordless phones in the house.
Yeah.
All I did was push the dresser in front of the door
Okay.
and stared at the one window in the room. That's when it became dark, as a shadow loomed on the window. The knocking started again, and the woman's voice called out, "Come on, dearie. I won't hurt you. Please come out." The window was being knocked so hard I was afraid it would break. The kids finally woke up, and they were screaming and scared. I was a big girl, and could at the time lift my own weight, but knowing I had 2 kids with me, I became vulnerable and afraid.
Oh, it's a girl! I thought this was a girl.
Within 2 seconds, I hear the father yell out, "Hey, who the hell are you?" The person ran off.
What?
The front door opened, and there was harsh knocking on the kids' bedroom door. Thankfully, it was the parents, and after I let them in, I put the dresser back and explained what had happened. They called the police.
The fuck?
When they arrived, they found nothing, but the bushes that hid the patio had obviously been cut and torn to make a path. I babysat for them one more time after that, but they moved away 5 months later. I never babysat anyone ever again.
I don't know.
To this day, every time I hear a knock, a chill runs through me.
Fuck you. I like the caramels. Not gonna lie, I like the caramels. But I want to say that I don't know. I would for some extra money. I would love to do this shit, but it also satisfying seeing that if you don't know the person that you're in a house that you don't really know, you know what I mean? It's just a different seeing than being in your own house. Being in your own house or home alone is also sometimes not the thinnest that I don't know, it's just a different feeling. Cowboy? A cowboy?
This is a bizarre story, but I swear it's true.
Okay.
And my girlfriend can back me up on what I saw that night. My girlfriend had a babysitting job out at this country house in the middle of Nowheresville. The place was surrounded by woodland, and a good 10-minute drive from the nearest town. No neighbors or nothing.
Alright.
The prospect of staying there overnight all alone kind of creeped her out. So I, of course, agreed to head over there after work and spend the night with her and the kid she was sitting.
Okay.
I get there, and the silence of the area was kind of creepy, to be honest. There were no crickets or rustling or even any wind. The place was just without sound, if that makes sense. That sort of thing is a little eerie in the daylight, let alone at nighttime. So the night rolls on, and my girlfriend puts the kid to bed. We decide to chill out for a couple of hours and watch a movie that's playing on TV. I can't remember what exactly. We're both relaxing and cuddling up on the couch. All of a sudden, we both hear the front door open. Whoever opened it wasn't even trying to be quiet or conceal their footsteps.
How?
In this really silent setting,
I
sounded like dumbbells hitting the floorboards. They got even louder as whoever it was made their way down the hall and towards the living room we were sitting in. Here's the strangest part. Both my girlfriend and I feel perfectly calm, not freaked out in the slightest.
Wow.
We have no idea why, but it doesn't even occur to us to be scared or concerned. We felt weirdly peaceful. Unnaturally peaceful.
Ooh. The
person walks into the room. It's a large man, around 40 years old and well built. He strolls in without hesitating, and then just stops and turns his gaze towards us. This smell of stale cigarettes.
Hey dude, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, long about this place. Go ahead, yeah. It's not my place, so I couldn't care less. Yeah. I don't want to die, so there's citizen, I don't know what that is, because this isn't my house, so yeah, go for it.
Hit the both of us immediately. Still, we didn't react at all. We remained perfectly calm. He stared down at us with wide eyes, not blinking. We looked up at him as if him being there was the most natural thing in the world. My heart wasn't racing or anything. He had this sort of cowboy presence, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That's the best way I can describe it. Relaxed, but austere and serious. Cool, but dangerous. He wasn't wearing stirrups or a cowboy hat or anything. Just jeans and a shirt. A little facial stubble. Dark rings under his eyes.
Okay.
Can we help you, sir? I asked him.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Somebody comes in the house, in the house that they don't listen. Can I help you? Do you want something?
Genuinely. He drew a big breath. Don't go out in those woods tonight. I'm taking someone. It shouldn't be you. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll wait until morning then, I said. He nodded, turned, and walked back through the hallway towards the front door.
What?
We heard it close behind him, and he was gone.
But how do you know he is not still in the house? You know what I mean? Look at his closed door and the time you're gone. That's it. I don't know. That's kind of that's the other place. How can you say it? That's actually more sleepy. Like I'm going to tell someone. And these rules should not be used, so don't come outside. Don't.
We went back to watching our movie.
What the fuck?
And nothing had happened. Then went to bed without a care in the world.
You speak about something else.
It wasn't until the next morning, when we both woke up, that we realized just how disturbing that entire encounter.
Wait. Why don't you call police? He told you guys where he was. He was in the forest.
Had been. We couldn't seem to work out why we didn't feel a thing when he walked in. We asked the kid if he had a family member or someone he knew that fit that appearance. He didn't. We asked his parents later, who also didn't know anyone like that. They got pissed at us and asked why we didn't call the police or call them. We didn't have an answer. 12 months later, news broke out that a skeleton was unearthed in those very woods. The police started digging around the area, and a week later, another skeleton was discovered. In the following months, bones belonging to 5 separate victims were dug up from the earth. God knows how long they'd all been down there. Ever since then, there's been a police presence in those woods. I don't know who that gentleman was that came into the house that night, but my girlfriend and I both saw and heard the exact same thing, remember it in the exact same way. Why did both of us feel so peaceful that night, so unconcerned? It was a strange and chilling experience that we'll never forget, but I'm grateful it wasn't us that he took that night.
Yeah, I understand. Like, why would you come into the house and say, I'm going to murder people in the forest, so don't come in the forest? I understand. I like that you call police because you guys knew that he was, so yeah. Fine. I honestly think I murdered babysitter. What? I'm going to claim a murdered babysitter in the legend. Okay. So?
2 years ago, right around Halloween time, I was babysitting for these 2 ladies who each had a son. They wanted to go out, so I stayed at one of their houses and watched the boys. It was around 8 p.m. and the boys were sitting on the couch, playing on their iPads and whatnot, when somebody knocked on the door. I asked if anyone was supposed to be coming over.
Yeah.
And they both
It's
said
Trevor.
no. I go over and check the eye hole in the door, and it's some guy in a grey hoodie, deliberately hunched over so I can't see his face.
Dude, I'm gonna sit outside of yours.
I don't say anything and start pacing around because I don't want to give him any inclination we're inside. A couple of minutes later, I check outside the little window through the
He's
curtains.
gone.
He's gone. I didn't want to spook the kids anymore, and there weren't any more knocks, so I just kind of
Because it's already inside.
let it go as a prank. Cut to a few hours later, and the mums get back.
Yes.
They ask me how everything was,
Left.
and I say that the kids were great, but somebody came to the door. They ask me at what time, and I say around 8. One of the mums starts freaking out and going through her phone.
Because it already happened.
The other one tells me that right around that time, somebody had been making strange phone calls to them on a blocked number.
Bam.
They had disguised their voice and were saying things like,
Unless it's
I can see you through your window.
That's so stupid. Ha! I'm at your house. Ha! Satan.
They didn't think it was serious because it didn't make sense in the context of where they were.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, we're almost
it
positive it
makes
was
sense.
me he was looking at through the window.
Yeah.
They escorted me to my car, and I touched base later. Apparently, nothing strange ever happened after that.
Okay.
But I'm just really glad I didn't open that door, because I have a feeling in my gut it would have been really bad.
No, dude. What? Wait. So he called you, and the only thing he said was, I see you to the lines. Nothing else. Nothing. Okay.
I have
Grande.
memories from when I was a very young child of my babysitter putting me in the bath, filling it up with water, and then holding my head under it.
Wait.
She turned it into a sort of game, timing how long I could.
Wait. I want to hear it again. I want to hear it again. I'm getting my song straight. Okay?
I have memories from when I was a very young
Okay,
child.
I just had memories. I thought, I thought.
Of my babysitter putting me in the bath, filling it up with water, and then holding my head under it.
Sure?
She turned it into a sort of game, timing how long I could hold my breath underwater as she held my head down.
Sure?
I never felt like I was in danger. I really believed it was just some sort of fun game. Then,
Why is this thing got his hat on the wall and won't let go so I sing factor? That's not good.
we'd laugh about it, and she'd dry me off and take me down to watch TV on the couch.
Ha ha! No lies! Ha ha! Oh shit! No.
When I was a teenager, my mother told me something I wasn't expecting. That same babysitter I used to have had been arrested by the police years earlier. That's why she stopped coming around. She never told me this when I was young because she didn't want to frighten me.
Wow.
But apparently, she had drowned a child she was babysitting in the bathtub. Then she went on the run. When I heard that news,
Wow.
all my memories of the bath game came flooding back to me.
Wow.
I had never told my mother about the bath game, and she had no reason to lie to me about something like that.
Wow.
That babysitter had just been using me for practice.
At least it wasn't you. Was it? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Resume.
Oh, fuck.
And by normal.
Alright. Okay. Yeah, that was a little bit freaky. Like, I wonder, like, did she want to kill him too, or was it just like, I want to I want to see how long I can keep your head on the water till you, busy or, I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. That's the reaction. I don't know what to think of it. Like, this shit, because it's like the drunk somebody, you can't just kill somebody's hat on the water for alone, you know what I mean? So, I'm wondering, like, does she want to kill him? Or is she like, I want to see how long I can get your head on the water so I know so other people how long I need to, you know? I don't know, it's just, I don't know, I can't wrap my head around it. I just can't. I don't know, but yeah, this is a weird one, I'm not gonna lie. This is a weird one. I like to babysit the whole story, but yeah. Okay, I don't think excellent to see more horror stories. Let me know down in the comments what I should react to next, and I will do that. As always, and I should do that. Yeah.